What's going on YouTube? My name is Zach with Android Digest, and I have right here the Google Pixel 7. I'm going to be giving it a full review, and I've had it for about 2 or 3 weeks now. I've been testing it out, so I want to get straight into my review. So with all that being said, let's get this review started. So the Google Pixel 7, it does have a retail price of $599, and that price is insane when you look at what this phone has to offer. A lot of people are comparing this phone to the Google Pixel 7 Pro, and they're just amazed at how low this price is. In fact, some people even think this phone should cost more. Now, I think that's ludicrous, okay? Let's just take the good deal while we have it. And there have been amazing trade-in deals on this phone as well, and they've even been extending those trade-in deals out. So please check the links in the description and you may see some really good deals in there. But the reason this phone is such a good deal, it does have flaws, and we're going to get into that, but this phone does have, first off, a really nice design, and honestly, it's a design that I do prefer over the Google Pixel 7 Pro, because this does have a smaller screen, and some of us really like smaller screens on our phones, and this does have a 6.3-inch flat screen, and a lot of us do want to put a tempered glass on our phones as well. It's a lot harder to find a tempered glass that works with a screen that's curved, so having a screen like this that's flat, that does still look very nice, and even a smaller phone, it's a little bit easier to hold and to scroll through or to use with one hand. So I do love the design of this Google Pixel 7, but it does still keep a lot of the premium features. They didn't put a plastic back on it or anything like that. You still have a nice glass back. You still have a nice looking camera visor. It does look a little bit different than the Google Pixel 7 Pro. In fact, I do think it might be a little bit more durable, but outside of that, I have to say it's not quite as shiny on the sides as the 7 Pro, but it does look nice, and in my opinion, I actually prefer this design overall over the 7 Pro. But remember, that is very subjective, but I just love how this phone looks. It does look very, very iconic, and a lot of you will like some of the other colors they offer. I do prefer the black, and again, it just looks so nice to me. Now, if we look at the display of this phone, you will see this display isn't quite as good as the Google Pixel 7 Pro. However, it is actually a little bit brighter than the Google Pixel 6, and that's a really big deal, and you still get a nice OLED screen with this phone. This does have a 6.3-inch screen with a 2400 by 1080 resolution, and overall, I am very impressed with this screen. Now, it's not going to be perfect. If you are someone who is a big phone snob and you want the latest and greatest phone every year, of course, you will prefer the screen on the Google Pixel 7 Pro. That phone does have 120 Hz. This does have 90 Hz, but at least it does have 90 Hz. It does feel a lot better than a phone that has 60 Hz. And if you have no idea what those Hz are or anything like that, just know that this phone does still scroll a little bit smoother than a lot of other phones out there. And for $599 to get 90 Hz, that is good enough for me. And to get a screen that has OLED, to get a screen that's a little bit brighter than last year, that's a really big deal. And when I'm watching videos and when I'm watching content, I don't even notice a significant difference between this and the Google Pixel 7 Pro. The screen looks really, really nice, and I love how it's a little bit smaller. Again, that form factor is really, really nice because I can use this phone with one hand. And when I'm using this phone day to day, when I'm going through my average stuff, the performance on this phone is so good. So let's talk about the performance on this phone, because a lot of you might be wondering how good this phone performs. This does have a Google Tensor processor, and it's the Tensor 2, so it is supposed to be a little bit better than the Tensor 1 from the Pixel 6, and I'm happy to tell you that this phone does perform better than the Pixel 6, even if it's not that noticeable, and I'm very happy with how this phone deals with things like overheating. Now, some people are claiming this phone overheats when recording 4K video. Most people that are saying that are trying 4K 60 frames per second. That's just not something your average person is going to use very often. But I actually was recording 4K video with this phone. Not only that, but whenever I went to Camp Pixel, I actually recorded a video on the Google Pixel 7 Pro. You should watch that video, by the way. And whenever I recorded that video with the Google Pixel 7, and I have a lot of footage that is from the Google Pixel 7 because the video on this phone is very good, and I was actually able to record 4K on this phone for like 80 minutes. So overheating has not not been a problem for me personally. Maybe someone else will have an issue, or if you're in a very hot climate, or if you try 4K 60 frames per second, maybe you'll have some small issues. But overall for me, I did not have those issues that other people had, and when I was using this phone with day-to-day performance, I was having a great experience. Again, the phone wasn't getting that hot, and everything just felt very smooth, and it felt very, very fast. Even when I was gaming, I am someone who does like to game on my phone, but I'm not an intense gamer like some people. But you will notice some improvements as far as benchmark scores on this phone. This phone is a little bit better than the Google Pixel 6, so you can expect better gaming performance when you're gaming on high-end games. And when you're like me and you're just playing Call of Duty or some other games like that, you will still have a good experience on it. Even if it's just Mario Kart or other games, those are the type of games that I play, and I have a very good experience on this phone. And even switching between apps, scrolling around in Google News, going from app to app, I was not experiencing any stuttering or any lag or anything like that. And even software bugs was not something that I was really experiencing in my time with it. But the one area of this phone that I really love is the software. This phone does have the same type of software experience that you're going to get in the Google Pixel 7 Pro, and that really feels like, well, like you're cheating or something, because if you look at this phone for $599, that's absolutely incredible that you get all of these great features. So if you take a picture and you want to erase someone out of it, of course you do have Magic Eraser. If you want to call someone, that's really what phones are for, right? It's really nice that this phone is a little bit smaller and lighter. It's easier to hold than something like the Google Pixel 7 Pro, but this phone can actually block out background noise to make your calls a little more clear. On top of that, this phone will hold for you if you want it to hold for you, and it will notify you when the person or the customer service rep, when they are ready to actually talk to you. So there's all these little AI features, but by far my favorite feature of the Google Pixel 7 and the whole Google Pixel lineup, I love the voice dictation. And of course I love how it blocks out spam calls, because I get spam calls all the time, and this phone does do a better job of blocking out all those calls. This phone will also get 3 full years of big OS updates, which is a big deal, and it will get 5 years of security updates. So I am very impressed that this phone, it will have some good longevity, and because it is a Google Pixel phone, you will get faster updates than a lot of carriers out there, or a lot of cell phones I should say out there. They are often very slow with updates, and sometimes they do rely on those carriers to really push those out, but the Google Pixel, you don't have to worry about all that. You will get quick updates, and you will get a smooth experience without a lot of bloatware, because Google Pixel phones just don't have that. But of course, the biggest thing I was impressed with on this phone was the camera. If you look at the camera on this phone, you're going to get the same camera from the Google Pixel 6. So if you have a Google Pixel 6, the camera is not really a huge reason to upgrade. The camera is going to be the same as far as the main camera, but they did improve some things with like the selfie camera and with some other things with the cameras. So overall, I was impressed. Now you're not going to get the zoom lens, right? If you really want a zoom lens, then you need to get the Google Pixel 7 Pro. And if you want some more RAM, this phone only comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM. If you want 12 gigabytes, again, you're going to have to go to that Google Pixel 7 Pro. So the Google Pixel 7 Pro, it has better resolution, it has more RAM, it does have a zoom lens, but those are things that I personally don't need, and I don't think most people out there do either. So if you are someone out there who's a bargain hunter and you really just want to find a good bargain under $700 or $800, the Google Pixel 7, that is an amazing steal. But if you're someone out there who wants the best of the best and you're flirting with just spending less money to get a good phone, you might be a little disappointed, because this doesn't have that amazing zoom capability that you get from the Google Pixel 7 Pro. But in my day-to-day photos, when I was taking photos with this camera, I still got terrific photos on it. This does have a 50 megapixel main camera, and it does have a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. So it does still do a great job with normal shots. If you're taking pictures outside and taking pictures of nature, or if you're taking pictures of people, this phone just does a terrific job with portraits or all types of things, right? In my opinion, this has some of the best cameras out of any phone, and I would would personally argue that this phone actually takes better photos with the main lens than any other phone that's out there, because this main lens is the same main lens that you get on the Google Pixel 7 Pro, and for that reason alone, and also just the Google software, right? When you factor all that into the camera experience, the pictures are terrific. I went out to Camp Pixel and I took this phone with me. I took a lot of great shots out in nature. I was in New York and I was really outside of the city, just taking some gorgeous photos of the leaves and also of a lot of people. I took some pictures of other YouTubers that I was actually working with and that I was actually collaborating with in various ways. We were just working together to just help each other be a little bit better, and also just spending time with these phones. So I'm grateful that Google did send me out there, but I brought my own Google Pixel 7 that I bought with my own money, and I bought it for a reason, because the Google Pixel 7 Pro is a terrific phone, but for your average person, and even for me, I actually prefer a smaller phone. I prefer a phone that I could use with one hand, and I prefer a phone that takes amazing pictures, but I personally just don't take a lot of zoom photos. So for that reason alone, I really went with the Google Pixel 7 for me, and I'm very glad that I did, because the photos are great. The video quality as well is absolutely great. It is improved, in my opinion, over the Google Pixel 6. There was a lot less noise in my videos as well. Now sure, if you get in really low light, you might experience some of that. So overall, I was just so impressed with the camera, with the experience, with the AI, a lot of great stuff on this phone. Now this phone is not perfect, right? The battery is a little bit smaller on this phone. This does have a 4,355 milliamp battery, and that battery is a little bit smaller than the Google Pixel 6 from last year. And honestly, the battery life has not been terrific for me. I have been getting around 5 to 7 hours of screen on time, and that's not too bad. It is pretty reasonable screen on time, but a lot of you might really be battery hungry, or you might just need a lot of battery in your everyday life. You might use your phone all the time, and if that's you, I completely get it. You might need a little more battery life, but this is good. It's not my favorite. It's not the best battery life in the world, but it is still very serviceable. And a lot of you out there, you will notice a little bit better battery life than the Google Pixel 6. For me, I've been experiencing about the same battery life, but I also don't use 5G and other features like other people. So your experience may vary. Just know the battery is good, but not great. Now the speakers are good on this phone, and again, I have to say the fingerprint sensor is so amazing on this phone. Now I did have to register my fingerprint 2 or 3 times to really get it right, and you might want to register in the dark. That's just something that I heard. It will help your experience a little bit with the fingerprint sensor. It's an optical sensor, not ultrasonic, but when I was using it, I was very happy to see that it was very improved over the Google Pixel 6. Even with a tempered glass screen protector, I've had a very good experience with it. And this does use Face Unlock as well. Face Unlock is extremely good and extremely fast, but it is a little bit less secure. One thing to keep in mind. In fact, if you go to pay with Google Pay and you used Face Unlock to actually unlock your phone, Google Pay will not work. You're actually going to have to lock your phone and use your fingerprint instead. And Face Unlock doesn't really work well when it's really dark. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well. You might need to use your fingerprint if it's dark. But I'm glad they added Face Unlock. Again, the speakers are really good on this phone. The charging speed is a little bit low. That's really something I wish they would up on these Google Pixel phones. But at least this phone can wirelessly charge other devices with the power share feature. And a lot of other phones out there can't actually even use wireless charging at this price. So this phone does have wireless charging. It has water resistance, a lot of great features. And when you look at this phone overall and factor in everything, you might wonder if it's worth buying. Yes, there are a few minor UI bugs some people have been having, but the bug experience, well, it's not really there. There's not a lot of bugs on this phone. This phone is very fast. It's smooth. This phone is really for those people who don't care about all the specs, right? This phone isn't going to have the best benchmarks in the world. This phone won't have the same benchmarks as the Galaxy S22 Ultra or the S23 even when it comes out. It might slightly benchmark a little bit lower than those other phones. But what this phone is going to have that those phones don't, it has better AI. It doesn't have all the bloatware that you get, a million random apps, right? Where you have Google apps and Samsung apps for every little thing you do, and you have Google Assistant and you have Bixby, all of these things that are all cluttered together on your phone. This is just a very smooth experience where you get a ton of great features, a ton of great AI on your phone. That's a really big deal. The voice texting is tremendous. You get way less spam calls on your phone. So this phone, it adds a lot of little quality of life things that you just don't get in other devices today. And you get a flagship processor with some of the best speed out there, right? You also get good battery life, maybe not the best in the world, but it's still very, very solid. And you also get other things as well, like amazing cameras. The best primary camera, in my opinion, that you'll get out of any phone, period. So when you factor that in, I don't take a lot of zoom photos. I just want an amazing camera. I want a super fast phone. I personally want a smaller phone, and I want a flat screen. So in that regard, this phone is pretty much everything that I would want in a phone, and I can get it for $599. That is the retail price that it retails at. And for a lot of you out there, you could still get a lot of great trade-in deals, and this phone is, I'm sure it's going to go on sale over time, and you're going to get this phone for ridiculously low prices for what this phone gives you. So when you factor that in, honestly, this phone, I highly recommend it, right? The Galaxy S22, it costs $800, and that phone has terrible battery life. This phone is better in a lot of ways, at least in my opinion. I love Samsung phones. They are tremendous, and I love the Galaxy Z Fold 4, by the way. Such a good phone. But this, in reality, I think it's the best bargain you can buy. This phone is very close to a lot of $700 or $800 phones. It's going to go on sale. Great trade-in deals. So I can't say enough about it. The Google Pixel 7, check it out if you haven't. If you are someone who wants the greatest phone out there, check out the 7 Pro or check out the Galaxy S22 Ultra or some of the newer stuff that's out. But this phone, if you want a bargain, you want a great phone, I would highly recommend the Google Pixel 7. So thank you so much for watching this video, and if you want to support me, feel free to give me a like and give me a sub. That would really help out my channel. And another thing you could do as well is check out some other videos, right? I have a lot of great content out there about all types of Android phones and tablets, and I did review the Google Pixel 7 Pro, so feel free to check that out. Or check out some other stuff, leave some comments down below, check those links in the description. That is a great way to support me. And no matter what you do, I just hope you have a great day, and I really hope you enjoy your week.